once again, let's check out another Lemon 64 game. This time it's Castlevania. You might notice we're playing this on the Nostalgia cartridge, which comes with some great music as well. And this originally came out in 1990, copyright Konami, and it was also not released with a load of cheats at the beginning, and so let's skip all those and get through to that title screen, which is familiar to anybody who's played the NES version. This is Castlevania! Yes, despite no music and no drum roll, this game begins, and you can see very familiar USI, not DSI in this case, but many DSI guys worked on it, including Mike Smith, Tom Singleton and Chris Hatlid, that we've already seen in our Test Drive 2 reviews. Here we are at a graveyard scene, and it reminds us of a graveyard scene. And then we get the high score table. Back to the title screen, and let's press fire and check out the game. At the beginning, we can either start a new game or continue a saved game. I'm not quite sure how that works on the cartridge version, but here we are at the beginning of the game. We are in a forest, and it's our job to shoot stuff with our whip, and that will reveal some bonus items, including bonus weapons and some bonus energy as well. You can see the player energy is on the top and the boss energy is on the bottom. We've just picked up a knife, and this is stage 0, and now we're on to stage 1. Who's played the NES game will know the music and will know the levels much better than I do, because I've never actually played this game before, and the nearest I have to playing it is actually seeing the AVGN reviews, and I can't remember much about those right now. Apparently I'm getting some hearts from the lamps on the side of the screen, and when I shoot those, a heart will drop down. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be updating anything except for the hearts, which are 21 on the right side of that screen. Maybe they apply to energy later on in the game. You can see panthers, which will attack, and they also respawn as well, and respawning panthers isn't a great addition to this game. This is the entrance hall, and from here we can move on through the dark castle itself. And Castlevania, of course, nothing to do with Transylvania or Dracula in any way, shape or form. And so this is a haunted Dracula castle, and we play maybe Van Helsing throwing around a whip like Indiana Jones, and so they've borrowed quite a few elements in different genres this game, but they've definitely kept the bats, and the bats in this game are a menace, and you have to avoid those at all costs. And this looks very familiar from AVGN. This must be the way to go. Despite some colours and some touches and some graphics overlays, this game is quite basic for a 1990 game. And you can hear the music as well, kind of a faithful port from the NES version, and it's not been updated in a Commodore 64 style, which would have made the music even better. The way is very easy, even though I'm making it look very difficult on this playthrough, and it's made slightly harder through different things. First of all, of course, climbing the steps is made more difficult, because if you try to jump through the steps, you'll simply jump straight through them, and sometimes when you wanted the health and safety of steps to cover our actions, we cannot climb them in time to actually perform the action. And so steps in this case have to be manoeuvred in the correct way, otherwise you'll just go straight through. see there is a bat on the ceiling. I'm not quite sure whether that will attack or whether that's the end of the boss, and it appears to be, so let's lay into that. We've lost the knife that we managed to pick up, and so all we have is our trusty whip. And at close range, this thing is a menace, and it will be quite difficult on our health to get through it first time, but it is entirely possible. Just for that, it gives us a bonus item, and that restores our health all the way back up, so that we enter stage 4 with full health. And that's fantastic. You might notice it also gives us a bonus for the time remaining, and that all adds to the score in the top left corner of that screen. Now we've finished stage 3, now we move on to another scenario, and it teleports us to a handy dandy map where we get to see our progress through the entire game. I'm not quite sure whether that was on the NES version, but it's quite handy on the C64. Now we just picked up a cross and we can pull back and press fire to lob that, and it works a bit like a boomerang. We can throw that out and grab items with that at our leisure. Fortunately, the enemies will double back if they see us, and that's quite realistic, but you might notice that some of the enemies in this game move quite quickly, and it doesn't give us much chance to destroy them unless we know that they are there already. So just like many NES trial and error games, you'll get to know this one by trial and error and getting your ass kicked and your energy lost every stage. But this is the entrance hole to the first tower, I think. Let's move on and climb this tower and see how far we can get on this playthrough. Again, not quite sure what all of this money does and all these hearts. I just presume that they give us something further down the line. And at this stage, our bonuses don't really give us much. And that power up, well, it's good on a straight line maybe, but maybe it's not very good in other situations like bats flying around, because you have to wait for the item to return before you can use it again. Just when you thought it was all over, you find blue Medusa heads, and this is definitely something I remember from the NES version seen on AVGN. So the Medusa heads aren't particularly difficult in this game. Now the difficulty comes with the lag control system, the difficult control system, pushing up and also pressing fire to use the whip as well, and also the speed of the enemies, which are slightly quicker than we are. Giving up and getting bored on the bonus items, let's try to move further, and sometimes the items disappear if you don't collect those quickly enough, so it's best to get those quickly if you're going to collect those. Let's make our way further up the tower, and the Commodore 64 version, so far so good, more Medusa heads, and now it's the art of timing to get us over, whoops, that gap. And no, you can't simply fall onto the level before us, and that would make sense in a game like this. No, you actually lose a life falling down the gap, and you can jump from an infinite height, but you can't fall down the small pit on the level above us in the tower. That's the knife collected, and now we can pull down and press fire to use that knife. Not that that will give us much of a great benefit against enemies which are lower than us on the screen. Taking a look at the producers of this game, of course, yes, Chris Hatlid works on the Grand Prix Circuit game, and Test Drive 2, creating that music, and the graphics, Tom Singleton and Mike Smith, they worked on the original Metal Gear, and both versions of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which appeared on the C64. And yes, we did get Metal Gear from Konami on the C64, and we didn't get that on the Amiga. Sadly, we did get this on the Amiga, and if this game wasn't already broken, it's absolutely catastrophe on the Amiga. But let's not move on to the Amiga hard. This is C64 hard, and once again it's the art of maintaining concentration, because this game runs the risk of getting boring every now and again through a lack of stuff getting on the screen and our ass getting kicked at the smallest possibility. So let's try to jump over that gap this time, and through trial and error, let's not try to be a gung-ho about this. Let's time the heads, and let's time the jump onto the next screen. Taking a look at the scores, most scores that I could find were 5 out of 10, and the Lemon C64 website awarded this 6.3 out of 10, which gives this an average score of 5.5 out of 10. Like all these games, it is possible, but not when you're trying to do a side ledge jump like that. You'll just simply fall off, and Dracula's whole of blame. That's me at number 1. So congratulations, we've completed the first introduction of the game. You can save it or quit, and choosing to save the game, I'm not quite sure what that does on the cartridge version.